Okay. Right, so what you're looking at here is what the teacher sees when they log in with their USO login. You won't see this if you're using IP authentication, because that doesn't tell us who you are as an individual. It just tells us that you're on the school premises. So when you use your USO login, you're actually identifying yourself to Busy Things. So this is a USO login that I use for demonstration purposes. Attached to your USO is your name. So you can see that above this silhouette here, and the school that you work at, okay? So Busy Things at this point knows that Beth Things is a teacher at this school and has put her into teacher mode because it's a staff USO. When a pupil logs in with their USO, similar, they will see this. So again, it tells us who they are and it tells us what school they're at. But we've removed all the teacher features when the pupils log in. So if we go back here, you can see the main difference is these pale yellow areas and this bar along the top, and news alerts. So this is telling you what's new on Busy Things in the last few weeks. Right, so the concept is that in teacher mode, you use all the tools that we give you to customize what the children see, have a look at what they've been doing, send them feedback, and perhaps set them work. You may only be familiar with Busy Things as having these ready-made setups that sit behind these age bands, okay? So behind these age bands is a kind of portal to the content for each year group here. And this is what we call a setup. So setups contain all the subject areas, and then you drill down to the actual content. Remember, we're still in teacher mode here. It's exactly the same for a pupil. When they go into Busy Things, they get the age bands. They're free to go in to one of these setups and drill down to the same subject, and they see the activities. So the difference there between pupil and teacher mode is that we give you additional controls off here. You've got the teacher bar at the top and so on. So when you're in teacher mode, be mindful of this little red button. That's got everything you can do with this activity at any point. And be mindful of this teacher bar across the top, because this is constantly changing and it's telling you, you know, what your options are. Right. So that's the difference between what pupils see and what teachers see in a nutshell. So Busy Things comes with these ready-made setups. Now, these are open. They don't belong to anybody. They're a playground of content. So any teacher, any child can get in there, and you can't monitor what they're doing. So that has its purpose in order to explore the content. But what you need to do to get the most out of Busy Things is to make your own setup, okay, for your year group and your registration group. Once you've made a setup for yourself, you can customize it just for your pupils, and you can also put your children into different ability groups and make sure that they're receiving content that is relevant to them and not just roaming around or, you know, I mean, you can still sort of pin content and things in the ready-made setups, but you can direct them much more easily if you spend the time putting them into a class. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go up to manage setup. So this is the screen you see when you first log in. Jump up to the top here and click manage setups. So this shows you all the setups that currently exist on Busy Things. I've shown you the ones made by us. We want one made by Beth. So I'm going to go into early years. I'm going to click this plus. I've got a 7-step process to make a new setup for early years. I'm going to take the defaults. So when you get to do this, remember, just take the defaults to start with. So it's defaulting to a class setup, which gives the pupils individual files areas, timeline reporting, and the ability for you to send feedback. The very first time you do this, you will be making a registration group. You can't actually select teaching group. A teaching group is a subdivision of a registration group. So that's why that's not available. Teaching groups hold children that are members of registration groups. So we are making a class registration group. Manage owners, I'll get back to that, but you can allow other teachers to manage this setup. I'm going to give this class the name of Oak Class, and I'm going to set it at upper reception. Now, this is the content settings. Don't worry too much about it. It's possible to pull in content to your class setup from every single year group. So this is the base level. I'm going to quickly change the background and click next. And the very first time that you make your class, again, take the defaults, step 7 of 7. Don't worry about this, I'm going to explain it later. Taking the defaults, save. Okay, so I click, gave it a name, changed the background. That's pretty much all I did. At the end of that process, you get a code. Now, children on the London Grid for Learning need to join a class using a code. Unfortunately, you can't just add the children in via a spreadsheet. That's a limitation of the way that LGFL of their USO login. So what I did then, was I clicked on this code because I'm going to change it to something easier for us to remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can do this. You can change that code. If you've got very young children, you can actually go through the process that I'm going to show you for them, as long as you've got access to their USO logins. Or you could make a lesson of them adding themselves to your class using this code. Okay, so it's telling me it's added a My Busy Things area to the welcome screen. Okay, so to recap, we went up here, we took all the defaults, just giving our setup, which has appeared here, a name and a content level. So what we've got here is a secure class setup by default. That is a registration group by default, all the defaults. And you can see this icon is different to these free play ones that are out here. And that's because this is a closed class. Only children with that code can enter it. They only enter it once. You only need the code once. After that, it knows they're members of the class. Okay, so what that's done, now we have a class on this account. So we're the first teacher that comes along to your school and creates a secure class setup, going through those steps that I've just done. From that point onwards, your account is always going to have a My Busy Things area, because that's where class setups sit. They sit in the My Busy Things area of the person that owns them. There can be more than one owner. So another member of staff might log in and it will be inside their My Busy Things area. And in there are all the tools that you need to manage this setup, which looks like the other setup. We've not changed it. It's just been given to us. It's an upper reception setup. So it's an exact copy of this one, but it's owned by you, and it's in your My Busy Things area. Okay, everybody gets one of these little silhouettes. You can make a little picture of yourself, and that maybe reinforces that this is yours. So when you log in with your USO, this is your My Busy Things area, and in there is your registration group. Okay, so when we go into our registration group and click Manage Pupils, it's telling me there's no pupils in this class. And that's because nobody's come along and joined it yet. Right, so we'll do that. I'm going to go back to the pupil view now and reload the page. Okay, so same scenario, because there's a class in existence on this account, there is now a My Busy Things area. And this boy, Tyler Busy, is looking to join our class. So the very first time he logs in, he can give himself an identity here. Find a boy. So these are all, you can customize them using all these, so the children can make their own. Finding a little bit with that one. Right, so this is his My Busy Things area. At the moment, when he clicks on it, he doesn't know what class to show him because he hasn't joined yet. So he's going to get this join class button, and he needs to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So now he's in Oak class. Okay. So next time he logs in, all he has to do is click on here, and he gets his class set up, his files, his assignments, his messages, and his timeline. So in there are all the things that are in the upper reception class setup. We can send all sorts of things to Tyler's My Busy Things area, and that's what I'm going to show you. We don't have to just send them from his reception class setup. We can send him content from the whole of Busy Things. Right. Is everybody getting this so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No questions? No? Okay. So when I come in now, I'm logged in. I made my class setup. Here it is. When I go into my class setup and look in Manage Pupils, I've got one pupil in my class. So if they've all come along and done that together, or they've done it at home, you're going to have a nice long list of pupils here, all the pupils in your class. And you can start using these checkboxes to manage them. So we've got move selected pupils to another registration group. Perhaps they, need to move for whatever reason. Add selected pupils to a teaching group. That's what I'm saying. Once a child belongs to a registration group, you can put them in a little teaching group, say for a higher level maths or a lower level literacy. And that gives you control over what you're sending to their My Busy Things area. It means they can receive something that other children in Oak class can't. We've got delete and send a message to selected pupils. So be mindful of these checkboxes here. Okay. So we're going to do this whole demonstration with just one pupil, which makes it a little bit, it's not quite as it will be for you. So what you can do before, when you imagine you've got 30 children in this Manage Pupils area, one of the first things you should do is probably put them into groups. You don't have to do it straight away, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to create here. Now I've got a My Busy Things area. I don't need to go into Manage Setups. I can go through this process again now and select teaching group. And this is how you will differentiate the 30 children in your registration group. You can also put in children from other registration groups. So let's say that this is a phonics group that I need to create. And I want it at a nursery level. I can change the icon of background, same thing. And again, I'm just going to, this first box lets you change what's in there by changing the landing page. So by default, all of these subject areas are there. But let's, for this teaching group, just show the phonics program. Okay, so I've changed the landing page. It's highlighted there to literacy phonics, and click save. And I'm going to, with a teaching group, you can add the pupils yourself. So I'm going to add the pupils myself. Now, imagine here, there's lots of classes, including your own, and you can cherry pick the students now. We've only got one in this class, but you can go around and you can put them all together in a phonics group, which you're managing. And there it is there. So the things that you can do to push content forward, I'm going to show you in this setup here. You get the exact same range of tools in your teaching groups as well. So if you imagine that we've got maybe 2 or 3 children in the managed pupils area from Oak class in this phonics group, they will receive content that I send using these tools that the rest of Oak class won't receive, because I'm using their teaching group to do what I'm showing you. So that's the way that you start to group your children. So you would expect in your My Busy Things area to have your class and several teaching groups. You can have a simple setup for free play and let all your children have access to that as well. So this is where you sort of create lots of variety of content. In the same way, you could create a Key Stage 2 setup here and use the tools to send Key Stage 2 content to Key Stage 1 children. So get into the habit of having a variety of levels of content here and using the appropriate tool set to send them. Right, okay. Hopefully what I've just said will become much more clear when I start showing you how you send content. So we've gone into our class, the very first class that we made. We've got 1 pupil in there. Imagine we've got 30, and we're going to send an assignment to the whole class. So I'm going on to assignments. Depending on the age, the content level of your class, so Key Stage 2 setups will have quizzes as an assignment, as well as projects and worksheets. You get some options down here. So I'll leave you to explore the different types of activities you can assign, and I'll just assign a project quickly. So I'm going to assign animals in the jungle. And I clicked assign. There's filters here, so you can change the results of what's coming up here, and you can press the play button, have a look at it. If you like it, come back here and click assign. You can choose a template, so choose an animal in the jungle for them. So let's say we want everyone to do an elephant, and I want this to go to Oak class. I don't want it, there's my phonics teaching group. I don't want it to go in there. I want it to go to everyone in my class. Assignments can have a start and end date, so you can plan ahead. I just click save, and at the end, it says, if you want to inform your pupils, send them a blast. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to send a blast. Now this message is going to every single child in Oak class, and it's going to sit in their My Busy Things area. Okay, so this is today's assignment. Hello. Leave. So I went into this area. I clicked assign a project, and then I went through the process of assigning this project. And it's sitting here in the management area. It says I've got no submissions, nobody's done it yet. When they have, I'm going to get a little results button in this drop down, and I'll be able to see all the elephants that the children have done. Okay, so that's one way of pushing content forward. Again, remember, if you just want some children in your registration group to see it, you'll need to send it to that teaching group, not the whole class. So at the end of that process, we sent a blast, if you remember. The blasts that you have active all appear in this area. So this is what they will see in their My Busy Things area. If you've made a spelling mistake, I'm going to capitalize that and put a full stop on. You can correct it there. You can also blast any activity here. Okay, so I've picked blast activity. I've got a full range. These are 426 results there. Now, these are all the activities that are sitting in my reception setup. If you want to blast an activity from Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2, you will need to come out here to use these search tools. So let's imagine that I want to find some Key Stage 1 content for my reception class. Off this red button, the red button's very important in teacher mode. I've still got a send blast option here. And there's no reason why I can't send my class. Let's do it with a game. This Key Stage 1 game, okay? It's here. There's my teaching group as well. So all the classes that exist on this school account would appear in a long list here, and you'd have to select yours. So we've decided that we want to send this Key Stage 1 game to our reception class. I'm going to say maths. Please play. That's another way of differentiating. Of course, you could have been sending that to a teaching group. You don't have to send it to a class. You can send it to any, from here, you can send to any class and any teaching group, any content level. Right, so we've got another one now, look. We did that one out there, but this is where they're building up. Right, so these tools here are similar to the ones that I was looking at just then out on the welcome screen, but they're only searching the content in here in our reception class, which is fine. So what you can do is you can go onto the curriculum search, which you can start unfolding these and search by curriculum objective, or you can go into the search tool and enter a search term to see if you can find content. Okay, so a third thing that you can do, and you probably wouldn't be using all these things in conjunction, you just probably have your favorite, is create what we call a pin. A pin is a folder, so a folder of activities. So if we're doing a mini beast topic, we can create a folder with all those games in and then send the children a folder of games. Okay, so I'm going to imagine I've played all these three and I think, well, all three of those are fine. I'm going to select this option here, pin to set up home page. Okay, pin to Oak class. and I'm going to call it Mini Beast Monday. And again, I can choose a template if I want to, and I'm going to click confirm, and I can blast that, or a pin appears in it, a folder will appear in a child's My Busy Things area anyway. So you don't have to blast a pin, but you can. And then I want to add these ones as well. So I'm going to go down, and instead of creating a new pin, I'm going to add to an existing pin, Mini Beast Monday, confirm, and confirm. Okay. So what that's done is it's created this little folder here with 3 games in, and that will appear in all the pupils My Busy Things area that are in this Manage Pupils list. Right, I am going to go back and be a pupil now. I'll just come out here. Reload the page. Right, okay, so Tyler joined O class, doesn't need to do it again, logs in with his USO, clicks on here. He's got these 2 blasts. He's got his folder of Mini Beast Monday activities, and he's a member of the phonics teaching group. Okay, so this is sort of a kind of busy, My Busy Things area. But there you go. So he's got these pieces of work to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go in and out of these, and they will start to appear in his timeline here. And then we're going to go back and send him some feedback on his work. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly put on the front. Click submit. I've got a little tip there now. I'm going to play this game. Remember, there's
Brown monkey is
so
hungry.
many
Raise his
different
platform
activities
by
on Busy
adding the
Things.
correct number of blocks.
We're going to Mini Beast Monday, and computer. A little bit of writing. My name is. So this way of projects that are in a pin are not going to be gathered in the assignments area. So if you like what I show you when we go back and look at the results of the colouring an elephant, which was an assignment, not a pin, always put projects into the assignments area. If you're quite happy, if your children are a bit older and you want them to send to teacher, they can, or they can put it in their My Files area. Send to teacher. The thing that child does that they just save through their own free play will be put in here. And when they change class, or join another class, they'll take their My Files with them. Okay, so we haven't got anything appearing in the timeline yet. But what we've done is we've played that game, we've done this assignment, and we saved a file in there. So let's go back now and see what that looks like to the teacher. I'm going to reload. And look in my class, go to my assignment. You can see I've got one submission. So I'm going to go to results. There's the elephant that Tyler's done. So you would get for every single pupil in your class, an elephant building up down here. And you'll also get a list of the children that haven't yet completed the assignment and a link to send them all a message. Okay. So I'm getting, again, the checkboxes, you can batch your feedback. If you look here, it says send feedback to selected. The teacher bar is always telling you what you can do. So you can send an audio message or a text message. I'm going to send 3 stars, and this is great. Well, okay. So we've sent one piece of feedback. If I look in the class timeline, we've only got one child in this class, so that's started to populate now. But imagine you've got all your busybodies here for all the children who have completed these tasks. You get an export timeline option up here, and you can export it by pupil. So if you want an individual record, we've only got one child to select here, or you can export a whole day on busy things, what everyone's been doing. But let's say we've put Tyler on to busy things to do some specific things, and we want some evidence of that. If I put, say, the PDF, the kind of report that you get is like this. So you get the activity name and a thumbnail. You get information on what they had to do and the curriculum links that that activity is addressing, the date that they played it. Just very simple reporting. So you can do full class timelines or individual timelines. Right, so one last thing. If you want, say, your children not to have all the content available to them in their class setup, you can quickly change the landing page, a bit like we did with the teaching group. And the way you do that is to drill down. Let's stick with this theme. To perhaps you are doing a science animals day, or if this could be art week and you'd have a menu of art activities. You can always jump up here to hide show content and start hiding activities. But when you've got a page of games that you're happy with, you can go to this left button, the settings button for your class, change the landing page here. So I'm going to put use current page and save. Right. I'm going to go back now. Finish off with reloading this page. Okay, so in the class, just the science games and a message here from you feeding back on his elephant picture. Okay, I think that's probably more than enough to be going on with. Has anybody got any questions?
No, thank you.
Right.
It's all pretty, yeah, it seems clear.
Okay, well, I'll send you the video. And then obviously, if you've got any questions or you need any help setting your account up once you've got your USOs, just get in touch, because I'm quite happy to sit here and talk you through it, or help you find things show you how to find things.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.